Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. My name's Elizabeth, and today we're going to be talking about what a credit score is and how you can improve it, or how you can make sure you get a good credit score. So maybe you haven't started having credit cards or anything yet, so this can prepare you to keep a nice credit score. It can really help you in your life, or maybe you already have one, maybe it's not so good. What are some tips and tricks to improve it? So let's go over those things. Right, so basically a credit score is just a prediction of your likelihood to pay back whatever loan is given out to you, right? So you're putting this on credit, a credit card. So you don't necessarily have the money right now. It's not coming from your debit card or from your checking or savings account. It's on a credit card. And so when you use that, you have to pay back that money. And if you pay it back on time, then you're going to have a great credit score. Also, if you use your credit card, you will typically have a good credit score as well. So these things can be tough. It can be tough to make sure you make those payments or pay it all down. There's a lot of debates in the financial space about if you should even have a credit card. I know there's a lot of benefits with if you want to own a house or things, a lot of times they look to see if you have a good credit score, because think of a loan, it's a line of credit for a house, which is typically a lot more money than maybe a couple $1,000s on a credit card. And they want to see, how do you manage a couple $1,000s? If you can't manage a couple $1,000s very well, a little concern for something that's $200, $300, $400, $500, $600, $700,000. It's a lot of money. So it's a good assessment and a good way to see. Some people believe that you shouldn't have a credit card because it's a great way to just spend a bunch of money and be irresponsible, right? I know I've had a credit card. I don't really use it very seriously. I will use it and pay off every month. I'll pay off not just a minimum balance, I pay off the full balance. A lot of people also do credit card hacking where they could get points and travel rewards, which I do think that there's some benefit in that. And I'm probably going to start doing that. I might put a video out here if you guys think that would be helpful, because I know I have a lot of friends who fly for like $0 or $12. It's pretty incredible. So you can be wise with it, but know your personality, know yourself. Can you be wise with your credit card? Because a lot of people have to end up freezing their credit cards or getting rid of them because it can cause you to be in a lot of debt. And as we've talked about multiple times on this channel, and if you check out any other videos, you need to live below your means. You need to not be in debt, and you need to pay yourself first. And so credit cards can be a real enemy in that. So just be careful. But if you're looking for some tips, let's go ahead and go over those. Right, so your first question, and maybe you already have a credit score, so let's look at that. What is a good credit score? So first, let's talk about what a bad credit score is. So if you have a score of 350, that is considered an F. You do not want anywhere near that. If you have an 850, then that is going to be an A+++. So that is the ultimate, and you're going to pretty much get any loan or deal that you want and get really good rates. Now, you don't have to fret. If you have anything over a 740 though, you're going to be in a good place, and most people will lend you the amount of money that you want. Right, so the first tip on how to improve your credit score, a lot of people do this with if they have a child that they want to build their credit. They can go on a parent, a family member's, or a friend's credit card. You can put them as an authorized user. So if you put it as an authorized user, then their name will be on it. Now, you really want to be careful with this. You want to make sure you're on, if you're the person going on somebody else's credit card as an authorized user, you want to make sure that they're extremely responsible, extremely diligent and timely in their payments, that they make all of their payments, that they have an excellent credit score. You want to look for someone who's closer to that 850, definitely above the 750. So you can be an authorized user and you can get the benefits. You'll build the credit history. So that's a big thing. I know I've heard of friends who have had the money for a down payment and have had the salary that can afford and pay for a certain type of loan or a house, but then they didn't have that credit history, so they couldn't. And so then they had to save longer and they had to get a credit card and build up that history in order to do so. So I know it's a big debate, but it is something to think about if you want to own a home or do something like that one day in your life. So it's just working on being responsible. So you could start as an authorized user. That is a method you can do. If you are older, you can do that as well. Find someone who's really responsible and who's willing to do this for you. But maybe check in on them, make sure they are making those payments. It could be good practice for you, and it also will ensure that they're making those payments on time and your score isn't getting hurt. All right, so number 2, another tip is to not spend as much as you are given. So you have a certain utilization number. And so maybe you have $1,000 given. You can use up to $1,000. You want to spend no more than 30% of your credit limit. It will hurt your credit if you spend more. So maybe get a bigger limit and spend 30% of that. That's a really good number because otherwise it will hurt your score. So this is something that I didn't know, and not everybody is privy to this. So definitely make sure you think about that. Even if you have $5,000, don't just spend the $5,000. All right, one caveat around this, maybe you're like, I want to spend more than 30%, or I need that full limit for whatever reason. That would be a question. Why do you need that full limit? But if you want a workaround, you can call them and say, what is the statement due date? So this isn't just your regular payment date, it's the statement date. And if you pay it down the full amount before then that is before it gets reported to the company. And so it will never go on record, and that will actually help your score. So definitely check that out if you're interested. So another thing that you might have heard is not paying your balance in full, or maybe you've heard of paying your balance in full every month. It actually is important to not just pay the minimum. You really want to pay as much as you can, or pay the full amount. Now, as long as you are paying at least a little bit every single month, that is going to be a good thing for your credit score. Now, in terms of benefits, like the credit card companies, the only reason you wouldn't pay off the full thing, that only benefits the credit card companies. It doesn't benefit your credit score. It just, what else would the credit card companies charge you if you don't have a balance and such? So it really does behoove you to go ahead and pay it all off if you can. So what if you need more money? Now, like I said, I would question, why do you need more money? But if you have $1,000, now you need $5,000. And you need to ask and say, hey, can I have a limit increase? The tip to not hurt your credit score is to ask your company, is this a hard inquiry or is it a soft inquiry? If it is a hard one, you don't want to do it because that will put your credit score down. So make sure it's a soft one, okay? If your credit score is above 740, most people will give you an increase without having to run the report. So just ask the question. Sometimes you don't know what questions to ask, so that's why I want to share that with you. That would be the question. Are they running the hard one or the soft? So another interesting thing, those are some tips on how you can build a better credit score, or you can improve it. But here's what your credit score is actually made up of. So the first one is payment history. It's 35% of your credit score, okay? This is the most important part of your credit score. You want to make sure that you're making your payments on time, that you have a consistent habit of paying off every month. It shows that you are accountable, you're reliable, and that you will make the payments. That is huge. So you don't want to have payment, miss, payment, miss, payment, miss, payment, miss. You want payment. Even if it's not the full amount, I would encourage you to strive for the full amount. But if you can't, at least be consistent that every month you pay whatever you can. The next part of your credit score is made up of your amounts owed, and this is 30%. So remember, we talked about earlier about credit utilization. You never want to use more than 30%. So make sure that you are spending way under the amount in your limit, and you will have a good score. That is essential. Number 3 is the length of your credit history. So how long have you been making your payments? So making your payments is critical. It's number 1, but another big part, which is 15%, is how long. So if you've been making your payments for 5 months, it's like, okay, that's pretty good. But if you've been making your payments every single month for 5 years, that's going to be a lot more information. And as a lender, I would be like, dang, they're very consistent. Over 5 years, they've made their payments on time. And so I can trust them. I'm willing to give them a loan. Another part is if you get more credit. So if you have all these lines of credit, it could be a car loan, it could be multiple credit cards, then this is 10% of your credit score and it will go down. So you want to be really careful. Do you really need another credit card? So just be careful. If you need like 10 credit cards, that's a little bit concerning. I know there are a lot of programs that are trying to get you to open a credit card and they're like, look at these savings or look at this. But honestly, it's not helping you, it's helping that company. So be careful. Last part, it's another 10%. It's a credit mix. So I know I just said do not have like 10 credit cards, etc., but it's okay to have a couple of things. So if you have one credit card, you have a mortgage, maybe you have a car loan. That's a diverse mix. It's not 20 things, but it shows that you have a few different types of areas and that you're reliable in all of those areas. So you don't need to do anything specifically for this, but it's just important to know. So your credit score, it doesn't have anything to do with your job, your income, your marital status. It doesn't have to do with how many kids that you have, how much savings or your investments. It's all about those 5 things that I just talked about and just your credit history. Do you have credit? How much do you have? Are you responsible? Are you making those payments on time? Are you consistent over time? That's what they really care about. Common questions are, when should I start building credit? So when you are responsible enough, when you think you can handle it. So if you are younger and your child you can do an authorized user, you can have them as an authorized user. I know I started mine when I was in college and I would just use it for like groceries or gas. So just certain things, and then I would pay it off using my debit card right away. But then I had that extra time, but it's up to you. So talking, if you're a parent, and talking when your kids, you think they can handle it, because you don't want to give it to a 16-year-old and then they totally mess up their credit score and it affects them down the line. So just be mindful of that. When do you think you can handle it? And then another question is how many lines of credit should you have? The sweet spot is 3. So like I kind of talked about, maybe a credit card or 2, typically 1, and then maybe a mortgage or a car loan. So it's up to you. Obviously, if you could pay for cash for things, or if you do that, that's great. I know there's so many differing opinions on that. Like if you should have the cash flow coming in, if you should have things totally paid off, if you should use a little bit of debt for certain things. I know that's a big debate, and I'm gonna open that up on my channel and we could talk about that and learn from certain people, but you can make that decision for yourself. So I hope this video was helpful to you. Let me know in the comments below what you think. Do you guys have credit cards? Have you had a bad experience with credit cards? Have you had a good experience? Do you have any tips that you've learned along the way? Please feel free to let me know in the comments below so that other people can learn this. Let me know if you liked this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. I am trying to share more information just about tips that can help you with your finances, your health, your relationships, your personal self, and how you can be successful, happy, and healthy in your life. So thank you so much for watching this video. Feel free to subscribe for more or share it with a friend if you think it will help them. And I will see you in the next video. Bye guys, you got this.